All right, everyone, welcome back to another Watch and Talk here at Automotive Anatomy. Thank you for joining us, man. Um, yeah, so it's cool that I ended up washing my car on I want to say on a Wednesday, I think, knowing that it was gonna rain on a Friday. I really just needed to wash my car. hadn't washed it, hadn't washed Jackie in a bit, and so definitely needed a wash. And it actually sprinkled the next day. I thought it was gonna, rain 2 days from there, from this day that I was washing the car. It rained the next day, and then it didn't rain on the Friday that I thought it was gonna rain. So you know what they say, meteorologists or whatever they're called, are the only ones that can, get things wrong on their job and still are able to keep their job. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a good time. Halloween's coming up. I don't know if some of you guys are, big time on Halloween or you know for me I've honestly haven't really been much on holidays, but I guess ever since getting married, my wife's always been a big huge um what would you call that, Christmas type of. I mean, she loves the fall season, so pumpkin spice latte, everything, right? And so she loves decorating for holidays, Christmas. We do Christmas cards because of her. And I don't really dislike pictures. Not like I dislike the way I look on some pictures, but it is a nice reminder that I don't make the best decisions when it comes to my eating and my health, and therefore, I don't necessarily love the way I look on the pictures. However, I think it also helps to see yourself the way it is. Camera doesn't lie. There's always a joke that camera adds 15 pounds, but reality is the camera reveals what you don't want to see about yourself. And so today's kind of story that I want to discuss with you is just being patiently aggressive. um, what does that mean? For me, it means that I cannot think that I'm gonna get some type of result overnight. um, and we've discussed this in so many other topics about you know my weight and trying to cut back on eating. And the word try, try is really like a nice word for somebody like myself to feel myself feel better. I'm trying to save money. Are you saving? No. Okay, well, you're trying. What doesn't mean that you're doing. So it's either you do or you don't. And so, um, definitely making some poor decisions as of lately. I'm still exercising. I'm still exercising. I should no scratch that. I'm not exercising. I am stretching in the mornings, but it's football season, and so I kind of want to, prior to COVID, I was playing flag football um, on the weekends with a couple of my friends, and so obviously COVID happened, and so that was put on hold. Do I still want to be part of it? Of course, but it's difficult to schedule things, with when you need like 10 people, especially with my own schedule. And my own schedule kind of means Saturday and Sunday mornings is dedicated to something along the sides of the channel, whether it's to interview somebody or go to Cars and Coffee. And so I don't want to lose that. That's important to me. I like having that schedule. And after that, maybe on Saturdays I can schedule something. But then again, people have lives, and so. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. But yeah, being patiently aggressive. Today I ate less than other days. I'm going back to eating a little bit less, a little bit cleaner during the week. Um, I think that I've always fluctuated. I was discussing this with my wife on a walk, how people that work out, like it's not a phase. It's not like, oh, a diet. It's not a workout plan. Like, it's a lifestyle for them. It's mandatory. Just like for me, it's mandatory to you know um, want to go to some car event on the weekend in the morning, and then afterwards, spend it with the family. It is also mandatory for other people to work out and to enjoy those enjoy those things we call exercise. And so they have a different relationship with it, and I think that that's the major difference. So, um, you know, I know I can look better. I know I can feel better. My knees and my backs have not been hurting. Um, I don't know where those kind of things came from. I feel much better. That my energy is so much higher. So um, I feel better in general, but I just don't look I know I can look better, and so that's something that I've been trying to improve. And going back to being patiently aggressive, um, I think sometimes you know if you guys scroll back to some of the videos, like 2 years ago I did a video where I said I quit my job, and I listened to it the other day, and I was listening to everything that I was saying, and I was like, damn, that was over a year and a half ago. um, and now my life is, it's like a year and some change, not even a year and a half, but now my life is so different. Sorry about the water spot, by the way. Water spots. It got worse. My life is so different, and going back and reading some of those comments, it definitely uplifted me. It reminded me that definitely we have created a very positive community here in Automotive Anatomy, and I'm sure a lot of people just happen to see that video because they are thinking about quitting their jobs, um, and it kind of reminded me, man, like you know, when I was working in the city, it was a big desert. I couldn't do car stuff during the week. I couldn't wash my car. Um, and at the time, I think I was there for 3 years. My first year I was by myself. My second year, my wife got higher up there, and so I was happy. I didn't really even think about moving back here. But something around my third year, and it's gonna sound corny for you guys, but we went out to Chili's. That's what one of our major thing my wife and I do. We don't really go to restaurants, but if we're gonna go sit in at a restaurant, we go to the bar at Chili's where I live, because my buddy is a bartender there every Friday night and Saturday mornings, and so we've been going there for the past, shoot, man, since I turned 21. I mean, 9 years. And prior to that, obviously, I wouldn't drink alcoholic beverages, but I would go there because my brother knew him, and so that's the only spot where my wife and I go. And we were sitting there, and before we got to the restaurant, we got out of the car. I was like, damn, like we're here, like still surreal that we're here where we want to be in. And by that restaurant, there's a theater. So I asked my wife, like, what was the last movie we came to see? And she was like, I think it was Toy Story, the last Toy Story, which is kind of crazy. Yes, we go watch cartoon movies. We don't have kids, but we go. Aside from Chubbs. Um, and I think it was ironically that movie Toy Story. If you guys see it, the last one, is really talking to adults. It's talking to, kids. Kids shares for kids, but it's really the message is for adults to take chances. It's okay to walk away from something that you knew. Um, to be okay with the change. I mean, all these different things that came out of that movie. And I think that was part of the reason why I really wanted to move from where I was. I wasn't happy. The other part is I vividly remember that moment. It was sprinkling, like it was drizzling. We were walking where we always go walk, and I turn around and something, I don't know, just like I said, we're always having a conversation with ourselves, and so something in my mind said, "Why in the heck are you driving here every weekend and hoping you were here? Why don't you just make it happen?" And at the time, I had the Subaru STI. At the time, we had a couple of student loans. My wife, uh, came in and had a couple of student loans. So I was like, damn, like that was like around March. So I kept the car for about March, April, May, June, like 3 more months, and then the summer that we had off, the very first weekend that we came back, I sold the car back to CarMax, and I started commuting in my wife's old beater, and that car was amazing. And so that's how, looking back now, going back to the video about how I quit, um, I was patiently aggressive. I mean, I got rid of things that were gonna stall me from, excuse me, that were gonna keep me from creating the reality that I wanted. And so I got rid of the car payment, got rid of that, we got rid of some bills, and we just started saving. And I'll be honest with you guys, man, quitting quitting my job was not easy, but now looking back, it's like, man, that's like the greatest thing you could have done. Otherwise, you could have been making more money. We're making less money right now than if we would have stayed up there. But my quality of life is, um, not exaggerating. I think, you know, 60% better. If I had to put a percentage, um, because I'm able to do so many things. I'm able to interact with so many of you. And like I said, I'm not trying to make automotive anatomy a career. or a job, because if I did, I could schedule people during the week, and then just go about it differently. And I don't want that. I'm really enjoying the process. I would be lying to you guys if I said that there's days that I'm like, damn man, like how come the algorithm hasn't hit and made some of these videos go viral, so then I can um, travel a little bit more or X, Y, or Z. Um, but at the end of the day, it's like, for what? You know, um, sure, it's gonna be more views, the channel grows, and then you're gonna be back to square one, where like I've told you guys before, 1,000 views to me is sadly not a lot now, but 3 years ago, I mean, I couldn't even imagine getting 1,000 views, and so it's definitely something that I've been working on. Really appreciating what we have, and so um, I'm patiently aggressive. I'm patiently aggressive when it comes to the channel growing. I'm patiently aggressive with my next goals, and like I've shared, some of my next goals are to buy a house and material things. But material things are definitely in the back burner. I have too many material things for the car that I need to get rid of. A couple wheels, a couple different things. I need to really, you know, have to put that into one of my priority lists. Take some nice pictures, put things for sale, and sell them, such as wheels that I have, extra wheels, and so um, I don't know. I've just been slacking, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, that's what's gonna be in the next few the future things. Um, Christmas is coming up, and again, I used to not be a big fan of holidays, especially Christmas. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't get gifts in Christmas, but I think it was. Um, I always wanted more. Like, oh, I asked for this, but I didn't get that. And we would always get sweaters and socks, and yeah, I mean, at some point, that the Santa Claus or whoever doesn't exist, and it's your parents, but um, it was so disappointing. Sometimes not being able to get something, and then you see the neighbors that get X, Y, or Z, and I don't know. So I've never been a big fan of Christmas, and now that I'm an adult now, quote unquote, I can buy things. Um, I really wanna stop. I wanna get away from buying things. I think I wanna buy more experiences. My niece last year, instead of buying her gifts, we told her, like, hey, we'll take you out on a trip. I think that's more valuable than, and honestly, it's more expensive, but it's more valuable than some material thing. And due to COVID, we couldn't do it um, for the holidays, but we ended up, 'cause I ended up getting sick. And then what was it? I think spring. Was it spring? I think in March, we got back to my brother and say, hey, so we're ready to take, you know, so and so to the trip, and so we did. We ended up going to San Francisco, and she loved it, and hopefully that's a memory that she remembers. Um, and then my brother ended up going back like 2 weeks later with her again, and the whole family up there, and so that's cool. She got to go to San Francisco like twice in less than a month, and so that's kind of what I'm trying to. I'm trying to get creative, I guess, on what I should give my family this upcoming year. I'm usually the most boring person. Yeah, I think that I'm the most practical, and what I mean by that, I mean, um, I don't like giving gifts to people because honestly, I don't know their taste. I definitely don't buy clothes for people. Heck, no, I don't even want to get into that. Um, but I try to give experiences. That's the biggest thing that I want to do. I want to give experiences, and I'm trying to think, and I think with my wife, we're brainstorming some stuff on, hey, like, what should we give, um, whoever, this upcoming holiday season, and all these ties down, man, because I don't think I've ever shared this story, but now maybe I have. I don't know, but I'll share this when it comes to, like, one of the biggest reasons why we moved back here from the city where I was working. Um, it's because, again, the weather. Like, I wouldn't be able to wash my car outside. It'd be really windy. Um, it's just, it's not. It really got cold, like really really cold, and it was just things like, what. I just don't see myself being happy here. I want to be somewhere else, and exactly where I'm at right now, it's where I want to be. We're saving money. We're trying to buy a house. Obviously, you guys can tell I live in an apartment complex. It's not the worst in the world. The biggest issue that I have is parking. But other than that, life is great. I wholeheartedly mean that. And so one of the biggest jokes, I guess, or inner jokes that we have, my wife and I, is champurrado. For those that may not know, champurrado is this hot drink that a lot of Hispanics make during cold weather, and obviously, champurrado is very popular, and so it all started when we were in this city, and I know that I want to move back here, and I'm patiently aggressive. Every day I'm driving with my little tie to go to work, and there's no AC, and it gets really hot, and the heater rarely works, and it got really cold. Like you get four seasons there, and this afternoon, I'm just, we did the same thing every single day, which is going to walk in the afternoon and then wait for the next day to come by. And then on Fridays, we would drive 2 hours, 2.5 hours back to Orange County. Well, on this particular like Wednesday, I wanted to treat myself. I don't know why. I was craving pie, just like a pie, and I didn't want to go like a big chain like Mary Callender's. I didn't want to like, I just wanted like a home mom and pop shop. So we ended up finding this place on Yelp, and it said honey pie donuts, and I already knew. I was like, this is not a pie place. Let me go check it out though. So we ended up going there. It's not. It's like this little, not so clean donut spot. And so I still went in there. I'm like, hey, do you guys sell pies? She goes, no, we sell donuts. I'm like, okay, thank you. I was upset. I was just upset because another, like I mentioned, 60% better. If I want to, as I'm speaking, on the microphone right now, if I want to get up and go get champurrado, or get sweet bread, or get a pie, there's so many different places where I live. In that particular, city, there's none. Anyway, so that happened to me. I kid you guys not. A week later, it was like during middle of the week. Um, my wife gets this craving for champurrado, this hot drink. It's like hot chocolate kind of. And I'm like, sure, let's go to this spot. We found on Yelp. I know that I'm like, we're not gonna have an issue finding this. This is very very common. We end up going to this spot. They don't have any, and it's like a Hispanic marketplace. It's like, what, you guys don't have? No, we don't. Okay, cool. Let's go to this big chain. You know, location. We know it's gonna have it. We get there. Every store here that has the same store has them. Hey, do you guys have some? They're like, oh no, we don't sell here. But there's a lady that sells outside in the parking lot. We're like, okay. Now keep in mind, it's very cold and it's very windy. Okay, no problem. So we go outside. There's nobody there. Obviously, the lady was like, heck, no, I'm not going out tonight. It's cold and windy. So my wife is getting mad because these locations are not close by. I think we've already been driving for 30 plus minutes, and I'm like, hey, relax. You're going through the same thing that happened with me with the pie. I was legitimate upset for the pie. I said, F it, let's go home. I don't want to deal with this. Well, we go to the third location for the champurrado, which is on the way back home, and we know for a fact that they do serve it there because we've had it there before. We get there, and of course she's like, hey, I would like some champurrado, and the lady goes, oh, we just ran out. It'll be about 50 minutes. Obviously they didn't want to make more. So my wife was just losing it. She's like, what, you know what, thank you, I appreciate it. She's like, F it, let's go home. And she was upset. I was like, okay, cool, don't trip. We drove home, and I said, look, just add it to the list. And I have these, I always say that, add it to the list. And what I mean is, I don't dwell on whatever's bothering me, but I just say a mental add it to the list. And yeah, I said I just added to the list of things. Which some of the things that included the list, I'll tell you guys, from that city was the demographics. I wasn't a fan of it. The people that we live with, surrounding our areas. Our apartments smell like a whole bunch of smoke all the time because the people upstairs would smoke, and it would go through the ventilation system. Whenever we would take out chubs, we needed to have them on a leash because there were some big dogs that, were just out and about roaming. Nobody would pick up after their dogs. The weather was, it's brutal. I mean, it was 20 degrees in the morning during cold season, and during hot season it was 120, 130. It was just bad. Um, and obviously, some people know that, where that city is, and some of you guys live there. And I don't mean it disrespectful to you guys. It's just, it wasn't for me. I did not want that lifestyle. And So that was part of the list, right? The other list was there was things to do here in OC or surrounding areas. Monday night meets, Wednesday night meets, Friday night meets, and then all the other stuff on the weekend. So I said, add it to the list on trip. And so that became our joke. Obviously, 2 days later on Friday when we drove back home, we stopped by to get some champurrado, and then we got home and we were just cracking up, and I think that was very important. That was a huge milestone, and so that every time we think of champurrado, we just laugh because like damn that happened. Another thing, last Thursday the Buccaneers played against who was it? I can't remember. Patriots, I think. And it's a Thursday night game. Now you guys are thinking like, what? Well, what's so special about that? What's so special about that is that I was watching the game on regular TV, and my wife reminded me. She's like, "Man, we've come so far." And I said, well, "Why?" She goes, "Remember when on Thursdays at where we used to live, you would watch the game in your phone because we didn't have signal, and the TV wouldn't work." I was like, "Oh, that's right." I downloaded the NFL app, and I would just watch the game on a little tiny screen. I don't know if some of you guys have seen the show The Office, but it reminded me of that time that Michael Scott shows, Pam and Jim his plasma TV. That's how I felt, man. I mean, just watching the game by myself on a little phone while my wife, would work out or cook or take care of things for the next day. And that was my life. I think that was part of it. Some of you guys could say, well, how come you didn't go out? You didn't go to a bar? It's like I didn't. Just it wasn't for me, man. I didn't like out there, and so I was like, you know what? You're right. It's Thursday night. I'm watching the game on the big screen. It's surreal. It's cool, and I think you forget like how at one point you wanted this so bad, and once you have it, it's like, okay, what's next? Um, and I'm gonna say I'll speak for myself. I feel like I'm very ungrateful. It's like there's been so many beautiful things that have come our way, and we're just always chasing more, which is not a bad thing, but I think it's not enough to just chase more, but to appreciate more. And so that's the reason why I really want to wash my car. So let me wash my car. I know it's gonna rain a couple of days, but you know, before even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have been able to wash my car. And so I keep telling myself be patiently aggressive. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna start eating less and drinking a lot more water. I've been drinking a lot of sugary stuff, a lot of coffee and some beers. And in the moment you feel cool, okay, you feel bloated or whatever. But then the next day you go ahead and you do it again. And I don't know. Hopefully we can make some small changes that over time start adding up and they make a huge difference. And we know that that's truly the way it works. Um, but yeah, I just kind of want to share that story with you guys. That whole champurrado thing, and I'm sure you guys have the stories of, you know, horrible bosses or places you work with that you're like, dude, I'm done. And this was the moment that you kind of lost it. And so when at the end of the school year, I was so fed up. I didn't have a new job, but I wasn't happy. I was getting up to go to work, and I wasn't. I just not fulfilled. Um, it was just not good. And so I ended up telling my wife like, "Hey, I'm gonna quit my job, and if you want to stay where you're at, fine." She was like, "No, like, like yeah, I like where I work, but I like my coworkers. But if you're not happy, then why are we gonna stay here?" So yeah, we both quit our job on the last day of school, and we headed back home. And it was surreal. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was like, damn, like all my stuff are in this car, and time to go home. Um, and honestly, I at that point I was very good mentally, and what I mean by that, I was listening to Dave Ramsey, so I was on top of my budgeting game. The minimalist had gotten rid of a lot of different things, and other podcasts like Ed Milet and Passionate Few and things like that. And so they were interviewing people that were motivating. So I was in my headspace. I say I was because I feel like I'm still trying to get back into it as strongly as I was back then. But it goes back to that. Like once you don't have something to strive for, then I feel like you become lazy, you become unmotivated, and so that's why I feel like even with the YouTube thing, man, like it was more of a challenge or fascination to reach those first 1,000 subscribers, then it has been, the next 36,000. And not to say that I take it for granted. I legitimate don't. I really appreciate it, but at the same time, there's days that I'm like, what does it matter? Um, in fact, I've played around with the idea of hiding the subscriber count, and my wife's like, for what? It's like, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. She's like, look, I know that you don't like to market yourself like that, but it also helps. It also helps with the future interviews. It helps with companies allowing you to do certain projects that you want to do. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Um, so I haven't done that because of that reason. Um, because there are definitely some cars out there that I would love to interview, like that Core wagon with the K20C, if I'm not mistaken. That's the CTR motor in, and I hit them up a while back, and so obviously they said that their engineers were gonna get back to me. They haven't got back to me, but I'm gonna hit them up again. I think it's important for me as a in a personal matter not to let my ego get in the way or be like, screw them, they didn't want me. No, like, dude, relax. That wagon needed to be shown by so many different people or events first, and then you come, and it's okay. Be patiently aggressive in the sense that, the super streets of the world, the sticky dilgers of the world, like, yeah, they're gonna get first dibs. You know why? Because they've been at it for such long time, longer than you have. And honestly, at the end of the day, nobody owes you anything, Gus. So, um, if anybody makes time for you, it's honestly, it's a blessing. Nothing is owed, nothing is guaranteed. Um, so that's kind of the mentality I had. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna hit him up again. I think I found the owner. And it'd be dope. It'd be dope to be able to, interview that wagon. I get it. The wagon doesn't see streets, and that's fine. But I think people would want to know why the heck anybody would put a CTR engine on a core wagon, and I want to know. Um, but that's just one more thing, being patiently aggressive with when it comes to that, with eating less. Interviews, man, I don't know what's been going on, but it's just been so many people canceling. Some don't even cancel. I hit them up and they don't respond anymore, and I'm like, okay, well, it happens. So, that's just a weekend that happens, and either I find somewhere to go, like a Carson coffee, or nothing gets done, and I just hang out with family, and that's fine. Um, I guess there's no harm. Just some of you guys don't get a video. I've been trying to do 3 videos per week, and I think that's that it sounds like it's reasonable, but it definitely gets difficult. And the last thing I want to do is just start pushing out videos just to push out videos. Like, I really wanna I really wanna make sure that whatever I create for you guys is a meaningful experience for me and for you guys to watch and enjoy it. I mean, like I said, I legitimately enjoy washing my car and then doing these voiceovers because I don't know, it's just therapeutic for me on both ends to clean my car and then just to share my thoughts. It's it's weird and it's good in a good way that I have individuals who are caring and supportive without even meeting me. And obviously, some of you guys that do know me personally, it's crazy. So when I see you guys at car meets and things like that, um, some people always say, "Oh, I recognize your voice." That's weird for me. I'm like, what? And then either their spouse or whoever, they'll be like, "Yeah, he has you on the background, and so we recognize your voice. And now, right now, when you're next to us, your voice is there." I'm like, sorry. And usually the spouses are like, "Nah, it's fine," it's cool. It's a cool experience. It's a cool thing for me to live. Like I've told you guys, man, one day I'm not gonna be here. Um, Life happens, right? And so what I really kind of want out of any of this, if you guys get out of any of this, is to go and continue to pursue your dreams and your careers, or just your personal happiness. Like, that's ultimately the number one thing I want to share with all of you. And to be patiently aggressive. It's not gonna happen overnight. If you have that sucky boss situation or job, or family dynamic or whatever, there's always something. Even if you're overweight, maybe less or more overweight than I am, like, let's be patient. Let's be kind with each other. Let's be kind with one another, with yourself most importantly, and just be patiently aggressive. So yes, if you eat less on that meal, it will matter. If you If you show up, a little bit early and you leave a little bit late because you're trying to get that promotion, it will matter. Everything does matter, and so I really appreciate you guys. I really, really do, and like I said, I couldn't ask for a better community here on YouTube. It just means the world. But we'll catch you guys in the next one. So I hope you guys enjoy these watch and talk. Peace out, camaradas.